Hey.
Hello.
How's it going, Nancy?
Am I the only one?
Not yet. Or
Hi,
not
Nancy.
Not quite.
Pardon?
I think, Kathy, are you joining us for the
I am.
Kanopy? Awesome.
Good. Yeah?
Yep, usually within the last 5 minutes to the event is when everybody shows up.
Okay.
So.
Oh, good.
You should be proud of me because I actually remembered.
Me too.
I'm going to try to
I'm
record this one
terrible.
and see if it catches the screen. Previous recordings of stuff like this I've tried to do, it doesn't get the TV.
Oh.
But I'm going to try Moni's camera and see how it goes. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's probably got a good camera. If it doesn't work, it probably won't.
Yeah. Please make yourself at home.
Okay.
Let's see, somewhere I have
So I brought my computer. I didn't know if I needed to or not.
It certainly doesn't hurt.
Oh, I went on this morning to see what it was, all it entails, and I think I got it downloaded, signed up for it.
Excellent.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah. And I'll say this to the group too, but there's over 34,000 titles of different movies and episodes and kids programming and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Quite a lot.
lots of stuff, yeah.
Yep.
Well, have you heard any more about our grant?
No, I'm waiting for that green light to promote it, but we did submit the confirmation that we've accepted.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I've just been trying to get ready for whenever they're going to sit down with us to talk about which titles.
What did he?
So,
Well, that's pretty exciting. I'm just,
hi, Jake.
Howdy. I'll get a pretzel saucer there.
Yeah.
Hi.
hello, how are you?
Good.
Good.
I suppose that's 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Well, thank you guys for being here. I'm not too worried about our small, intimate crowd tonight because this is going to be an ongoing promotion, promotional thing the library does, because this is a pretty new service, especially to our area, I think. But Kanopy itself is a streaming service that you have access to through your library card. So I was really excited to get our library hooked onto their wagon. The first time I ever came across Kanopy was with a Colorado library card that I had, and I thought, how cool, and that was years ago, and a lot has changed since then, and I'm glad that we hopped on when we did, because the service has streamlined a lot, and the ticket system that they use has also changed, so you'll be catching up with the latest and greatest without having to relearn anything. So I'll just get right into it. First of all, for everybody who didn't know, Kanopy features 34,765 titles. of movies, shows, kids programming and lectures, documentaries, all of it. So that's a lot more than we can certainly ever house here in our library. Our library actually houses about 11,600 materials between DVDs and books. And then our Libby app also affords us an additional 68,000 plus titles of books, audiobooks, and magazines.
So you can call these up on this computer or watch one of these movies on this computer? Oh,
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you can access any of those additional 38,700 some titles on any Wi-Fi connected computer or laptop, or even a phone or tablet that's connected to cellular, as long as your plan affords you that data. So, first we're going to talk about how to get signed up for it, and then we'll talk about, once you're in, what your account looks like, where things are. And the last thing we'll talk about is browsing and the little nitty-gritty where the details are for all those specific things you're ever trying to find. So, to begin, this is the bottom of the page, in fact. But our library's URL, the website to get to this, it's going to be crawfordpl.kanopy.com, and you don't have to remember that because I've got handy-dandy little cards that say so. They're on the table for you to take with you. And then if you're using a tablet or a phone, you'll just download the app and it'll have a basic opening screen. In any case, you'll either click the Add a Library Card button, which is here, zoom that in, or if you're on the app, it'll say Get Started button. So if we do that, it'll take us to a menu page where we get to add our library card. So in this case, you'll need to have reached out to me at some point or pulled out records or receipts of your own, but your library card is actually found on all your checkout receipts, as well as the handy things you might have received when you got your library card. But if you don't have it, just let me know, either by phone, email, or a visit, and I can get that to you really quick. But the library card will be individual to every patron, and the password/PIN is just like Libby. It's a single word for the whole library, Whitman, like the poet. So, let's see, I think mine is, where the libraries rather, it's 3144, so that's my library card number. And when we enter Whitman, it does not need to be case sensitive or anything, it can just be lowercase, like so, and we'll continue. And in this case, it'll ask you to then create your account. So your library card and the library's PIN allow you act like an access key basically, to get in to create your own account that's associated with an email address. So we would type in our first name, our last name, our email address, and what password we'd like to log in with. And you'll want to make note of that. And if you do forget it, they have a pretty convenient forgot password process. So, but in my case, we have already in fact signed up. So, what I'll do is, for the library here, we're going to just log into it. So once you've created your account, this is what the login process will look like. And if you're on a device like a phone or a tablet, it'll just remember your login and you shouldn't have to redo that several times. Let me think. 1 second. Actually, pull it up here.
Those are our passwords.
Yes. Alright.
I know, I need to update mine.
You need to read mine.
Pages.
Pages.
I got an address book for my password.
You got what?
I got an address book to
Yeah,
put
that's
on
right.
my password.
Well, that's a good idea.
I had so many and I can't remember, so.
Ours, yeah. And Tony's are mixed in with mine, and we just put pages. Just,
I got a big.
it's a mess. We did buy a new notebook to start with, but it's still a mess.
Alright, we are in. So, are there any questions about the sign-up process? Okay. And if you ever have trouble with that, you can come visit me here at the library, or even call me over the phone if the library's open, and I can walk you through that over the phone too. But once you're in, there's a lot of exciting things going on. On this opening page, we'll see what they call shelves, and kind of like we've got end cap displays at the library, they've got these pre-made slide marquee style carousels of films that they've grouped by rotating subject, topic, or what have you. So here at the top we have Around the World, a celebration of world cinema. So these are going to be largely foreign films that are produced, made, or acted by foreign actors or directors. And there will be countless other groupings, such as new releases, newly added, documentaries, and these again are kind of meant to be like end cap displays, just eye-catching, a little bit of what's new. If you don't know what you want to watch, maybe here's a source of inspiration. However, we'll get to browsing here in a minute, but this home page features these displays. Also on the home page, you'll find up top, we've got three options. You've got Browse, My Lists, and Search. And then on this side is the access point for the kids programming, Kanopy Kids. And then this is an important area right here, your ticket counter. Your ticket counter will show you how many tickets your account has for the month. And then this icon here refers to your profile. And that's also where your settings are going to be. Profile information, if you have a smart TV, a phone, and a computer, you can link them easily without having to do the whole login process again with this link device. Clickable here. But to begin with, I would like to look at the account portion. So, under My Information, I think I can make this a little bigger. Under My Information, you're going to have your name and an email address you use to sign up. You can change whether or not you get notifications. So if they add new titles or have specials or promotions, you can request to have emails sent to you saying that that's happened. Or you can, of course, delete your account, which I don't know anyone who ever has. In this third sub-tab here, we have My Libraries. So if you're like me, a world traveler who tried to get a library card everywhere they ever went, you might have more than one Kanopy account available through your different library cards. This is where you can manage those. I do not have my other library ones set up here, but the benefit of that is that I believe each library you add will increase the number of tickets. You'll have to log into one library at a time, but I believe the Colorado library card that I had afforded me 10 tickets a month. Our library, because we're nice and small and we can spread out a little bit, affords you 15 tickets a month. And I'll get to how tickets work here in a little bit. And lastly, if you have kiddos who are using this program, so if you have, let's say, a household library card, you can use this one app or website for all of your family's viewing, but if you have children, you can set a 4-digit PIN so that it will limit when they're trying to get into adult content that's outside of Kanopy Kids. And it's got a little explanation about that too, so you can turn it on and turn it off from that settings My Account area. Alright. Now, let's talk about tickets a little bit and how exciting they are to use. This area here shows you again how many tickets you have. The library has expended 5 tickets because we used 5 of them to unlock a season of the grade courses earlier this week. So, we have 10 tickets remaining for the month. Now the month begins on the 1st, so at the 1st of the month all your tickets reset, so you'll get back to 15. They do not roll over, so if you don't use your April ones, you don't get 30 in May. But when it comes to spending the tickets, you'll notice that each thing costs a different amount of tickets. Movies will cost between maybe 2 to 3 tickets, maybe sometimes 1 if it's a short. So we'll just look at this first one as an example. This film costs 4 tickets to watch. And here it also says you get 48 hours to watch that film, either to continue watching it if you didn't finish it, or to rewatch it. you can also, when you're searching for things, you can also specify under these filters here, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. You can specify how many tickets you'd like to spend. So if you're looking for a one-ticket movie, so that you can make the most of all 15-year tickets, you can do that, one ticket or less. And this will show you movies that cost one or no tickets.
Can you call up a specific kind of movie? Suppose we wanted to look at only the Academy Award winning movies of this year. How would you do that?
I'm going to get to that
Okay.
when we talk about browsing, which will be very, very shortly, but excellent question. And I don't know if we can search by awards. That's something I'd have to look into because I'm still pretty new at this service as well.
We might just do Academy Award movies and that would bring
We'll
up
give
some
it a shot and
movies,
see
yeah.
what
I think
happens.
one of the shelves is award-winning movies.
Yes. And those shelves will rotate though,
Mm-hmm.
so they'll come in and out. They might not be a reliable place to find things, but
Okay.
All I know is they're huge.
yeah, yeah. huge
Lots
piles.
of award winning movies.
Well, and another thing about award-winning movies is that Kanopy specifically curates critically acclaimed, world-class, classic, especially high-quality films, movies, and shows, and all that kind of thing. Their catchphrase, or their tagline rather, is Kanopy, films that matter. So you'll see it on their promotional material that they're really trying to put substantial material on here. There are reality docu-series, but I don't think there's going to be quite as many MTV-style reality TV shows available on there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about a category just for movies,
Right.
you know, to
Absolutely.
see if it would, you know, specify that narrow
Right.
of a.
They very well may, and we will find out.
Okay.
So regarding tickets, the fun thing is if you have kiddos that are using kids, or if you just enjoy cartoons, I love cartoons, you just hit start watching, and kids programming costs no tickets. So a kid does not have to muss and fuss with tickets. They can just choose their content, or you can just play it for them. And that's, again, free with your library card. So, and if we were to go in there, it switches the page, so we get kids display shelves, and just a sheer amount of catalog that they have here is amazing. So here's a shelf that's based on award winners. Caldecott is a children's book and apparently film type of award. So they've got storybooks, so this might be like Reading Rainbow style, where the books are being read to you on screen and they might be like shifting from one page of art to the next. But most of it will be either educational, quality. I recognize Caillou from PBS Kids, you know, so there's going to be a lot of that kind of TV show available to them. And just all kinds of good stuff.
Do they say what the age range is on this, pre-K to?
Let's take a look. We'll just click one. Okay. So this one came out in 2020. It's 9 minutes. It has closed captioning. It's not rated technically. Details.
Maybe the read more button right there.
Let's see. That'll probably be a show description. Poor dog with stinky breath, apparently. Nope, I'm not seeing that on the details.
Okay.
But go back to Peanut Kids. That's a good question though. I will look into that.
Well, and just in general, the whole thing there, if it's mostly elementary or, did I see Nocturna? That would have, that's an anime?
I am not sure. Hi Bill, welcome in.
Yeah, Nocturna.
Let's see.
PG.
Like this,
PG. Okay, so older kids in there too. Thank you.
Absolutely. But yes, all the rating details will be within each title. So as you saw, it's not necessarily listed in the shelf tiles that they have here, but if you click on any one of them, you'll see what its rating is. That dog breath short did not have a rating. But a lot of kids programming is technically not rated. But I think not rated is a little different than what we might expect to see on like a National Lampoon's unrated kind of thing. So I think there's a slight distinction there. So yes, Kanopy Kids costs no tickets. All right, how long do you have to watch things? You'll be able to see that in anything that you open. So movies, you'll generally have 48 hours of worth of access. If it's a show, let's see. If it's a show where you might have episodes, it'll tell you usually a certain amount of tickets grants you access to either the first season or the whole set of lectures, as in the Great Courses case, for a week. So here, my access to this series of Great Courses lectures expires in 72 hours.
You're meaning to binge watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 18 hours long. or 19.
The whole series has about 19 hours worth of stuff. Each episode, let's see, each episode will be pieced out. Each one will have a different
Oh,
amount
so
of
you've got
time.
72 hours to watch.
I have 72 hours left to watch episodes from this series, but it was a whole 7 days worth of watching. So you got 7 days for a lot of the Great Courses. Let's see if I can find a TV show of some sort. Ooh, I know, docu-series. Such as History Channel's Greatest Heists. Alright, so this has multiple episodes, 8 episodes in its season, for a total of 5 hours and 39 minutes worth of the show, and that's across all the episodes. But for 4 tickets, we can access the entire season for 5 days. So you have 5 days to watch as many of those 8 episodes as you'd like. Now, if you get past those 5 days, you can spend another 4 tickets for another 5 days to finish it. And that would leave you with about a third of your tickets left, if that's all you watched for that month. Let's see. And I already talked about whether or not you can rewatch it. So once you've paid the tickets, you'll be able to see how long you have left, and you can rewatch it if you finish it early. So let's say you wanted to watch a film to see if maybe your friend would like to come over and watch it with you, and you're like, absolutely. So you invite them over within those 48 hours, and you can watch it again without paying additional tickets. All right. Now, I'd like to also talk about lists. So my lists, there's going to be 3 different things under here. This first default landing place of continue watching will show you anything that you haven't finished yet. Something you started but haven't finished yet. And it will tell you in this little icon here on the upper left corner of the tile how long you have to finish watching it before you have to pay more tickets. And this, again, will only show you what you haven't finished. My watch list, on the other hand, will be where you can save videos to save them to watch later. So let's find something that we might want to watch later. Let's browse for new releases. I don't know who Simon Baker is, but let's say I was very interested in wanting to watch this later. I can use this button here, this plus, to add it to the watch list. And when I do, it'll say that it has been added. And if we go back to my lists, you'll see under my watch list, there's now a film there. Custom playlists, let's say.
But haven't spent my tickets on it yet.
Correct, it's just a bookmark.
Okay.
Yep, kind of like on Libby, how you can tag things, and you can create multiple tags to say, here's the pile of fiction I'd love to read, the pile of poetry, the pile of kids' books for my kid to read. You can do something similar with the custom playlists tab too. So let's say I wanted to make an educational playlist. And it doesn't have any videos yet, but if I click on this playlist, you can see that there's nothing in there yet. But let's browse for, I'm just going to search a great course, perhaps. Jane Austen. Jane Austen's Relations, From Family to Fandom. This looks like an episode of a great course. So of these episodes, let's say I want to save this one. Well, if it's an episode, you can save the series, and it'll just bookmark the series. Oops, watch list. Custom list. Here we are, playlists. So I apologize. So what I did here is just simply add it to my watch list. But if I want to save it to that educational custom playlist, we'll have to scroll all the way down past the details, past the episodes, and into the playlists section. And if you have more than one playlist, they'll all be listed here. You can add it to that particular playlist. So now we'll be able to see under custom playlists,
Thank you.
there is the one. Yep. Sorry, I got a little confused there for a second. So
Yeah, but you went through it right, you figured it out. It's just like figuring out any system, you just go through it and play with it for a
absolutely.
while. But it's pretty comprehensive, it gives you a lot of options there.
Absolutely. Are there any questions about the account sections or any of these up top menus besides browsing, which we're otherwise about to get into? Any questions? Awesome. So I received a lot of wonderful preemptive questions about how to browse, and so I have found answers to those questions. But there's a couple ways to find things to watch on Kanopy. So from the home page here, you can use the browse to browse by category. They have pre-made categories here, such as new editions or popular, and they have genres, your traditional drama, comedy, horror, documentary, docuseries, and what have you. They also have an instructional genre here, so that will feature things like great courses, not exclusively great courses, but things that tell you how to do stuff. Healthy living. So this is, I don't think, is a great course, but so that's one way to browse. And within each genre, they'll have these shelves that are either categorized by subjects or maybe awards or actors, that kind of thing. But let's say you know specifically what you're looking for. In that case, you'll want to use the search feature. So one of the questions was where can I see a list of what all great courses there are on Kanopy? You can simply search for them. And it might not include everything, and it might have a little extra, but let's say, here's a pro tip. Let's say you wanted to see that for sure list. If you find one, you can scroll down to its details, and here on the side you'll see features and studio. And studio, all these things that are underlined are linked, and you can click on them. So for all these tags, these are subject tags to include audience picks, literature lessons, hobbies, instructional, arts and culture. If you particularly like the sound of one of those tags, you can click on one of them and see other things that appear in that category as a search result. Or if you're wanting to see studios like the great courses, you can click on that, and here is a comprehensive list of all the great courses available on Kanopy. They are grouped topically. Explore the world, learn a new language, cooking. And I think it's fun how like a cooking subject, they didn't stop at just having like one cooking great courses, but they have so many different facets and approaches to cooking that they've broken down. Let's say you are like me and you're a horror film enthusiast, and I love films that are by the studio A24. So they specialize in kind of spooky movies. And I might not have everything, but I can click on one of them, go down to those details again, and I'll see under studio that they are clickable. So now I can see here are all the A24 films that Kanopy has available. All right. You can also search directors, like let's say Christopher Nolan, he's pretty popular. You can search for Christopher Nolan, and I know for a fact Memento is a Christopher Nolan film, so I can go down to those details, find his director name, and here's all the films they have that are certainly by him. If we go back to those search results for Christopher Nolan, there may have been other films he was involved with or associated, but maybe not directed. So when we clicked on his name under director, we will specifically see films he directed. But he might have been a producer on some of the others, he might have even been a cameo actor, you never know. So you can search by actor, you can search by studio, you can search, of course, by title. You can search by actor. Let's see, Hilary Swank has made a number of notable films. So here's a bunch of films that she's either featured in as an actor or maybe produced or what have you. Let's see this one. This one's got a heck of a cast. I see Katie Holmes, Keanu Reeves, Kate Blanchett, and I'll list all of the actors in it as well. Well, all of the main notable actors. So that's my pro tip. If you're looking for something specific, be it an actor or a director, anything besides a title basically, then going into the details and clicking that underlined portion will get you the most exact information. Let's see. You can also search by title. I don't know what we'll get here, but yes, so we've got the original silent film available here, a musical version. What was the Jane Austen movie that you were asking me about recently? Or was it a different author? Sense and Sensibility. No, it was a Shakespeare.
It was Romeo and Juliet.
All right. So the search bar will take a search word like Romeo and Juliet as keywords. So they'll consider anything that's called Romeo and Juliet, that's about Romeo and Juliet, and any kind of remakes that have been made. So here I can see that this is very likely a Great Courses episode. Probably a Shakespearean topic one that's talking about that particular play. This is the one I watched in middle school. And there will be other versions. Some of them will be staged, some of them will be different directors' take on things. Even West Side Story, which is based on Romeo and Juliet, shows up. So it's a casting a wide net using the search bar, unless you're looking for something very specific. So I wonder if Dracula, what kind of results that produces, because the 1993 version, I believe, of Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, it's not apparently popular, but it's a cult favorite, including online. I think they did a great job. But so here's all the Dracula related content. I'm sure somewhere, yes, the original Nosferatu, silent film. And I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually see the recent Robert Eggers rendition of Nosferatu on this service as well. They will circulate new materials in and out pretty often, or regularly, I will say. All right. So that kind of gives you the crash course of how to sign up, how to navigate your account, and how to browse for things. Again, your tickets start at $15 each month, and they will refresh themselves on the 1st of each month. And all of this is free to you with your library card. Do we have any other questions? Anything you want to poke around at? Oh, Jay had wanted to see if we could search by Academy Awards and the like.
I wanted to see if you could call up this year's Academy Award winner movies
Let's see.
and have a list, you know, and pictures you can see.
I'm gonna keep
I don't want to do the awards, because then you'll just get a bunch of
I'm just
things
trying
about
to keep.
the award.
I'm
I wanted to say 2025 Academy Award winning movies, and then it should
In that
give you a list.
case, that's something that you'd be more likely to find in a regular search engine. What the search bar here is gonna do is use a keyword to try to find relevant titles. So it's not gonna produce a list, even in the form of search results. So you have to probably in a separate window, search.
Oh, I see, go to a separate window, okay.
Yeah, that's something you, if you're
Then
looking
it- then
for.
it gives you a reading about the different,
Yes, so
movies
best
that
picture
won,
was
yeah,
Anora, best director was Anora, so we could search for Anora once we know what list we're kind of basing off of. But 2025 award winners are probably so new that they're probably not available on Kanopy yet. So the films, just like on any other streaming service, if it's just come out in theaters and it hasn't hit home video yet, then we won't see it on the streaming services unless those film companies have made deals with streaming services, which is common in places like HBO Max.
got to take a year for them to show up on a thing like this?
I don't have an exact time, but definitely some time.
Okay. So at least you had that one page that had the information on it.
Let's see. Let's check the filters to see if maybe there's an option in our browsing to search by whether or not it's won an award. I see languages, captions, whether or not you can perform it publicly. Okay, so no, I'm not seeing that. However, like we pointed out at the beginning, there are sometimes in those display shelf lines.
Yeah, but don't you think you have to specify the Academy Award, because you're getting Nobel Prize and everything else?
Those are gonna be, those results are referring to any episode, movie, or show that relates to an award. So that's why things for
Oh, I
Nobel
see,
Prizes
okay.
are coming up. Yep. So this is not quite a search engine. You're searching a catalog of titles.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, good question. So, just briefly, I'm gonna scroll down to see if what shelves there are presently about possibly award-winning films. And this will just kind of go on indefinitely, these scroll options.
But aren't you in the Women's Month? These are all women's movies.
Not all of them, no. A couple of them were related
But I mean,
to
that was the thing at the top as a title.
This
I just
one
read
was.
Yeah, History Month, Women's
Yes,
History.
so this relates to these films.
Yeah, but that's all women's history.
Not these, though. This one is.
Well, that's the
watched.
most watched films, that's what the
That's
people
what I'm-
using the service have watched this week.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep, so every one of these rows is gonna be different.
okay.
So as we scroll past some of them, here are the ones that are gonna be leaving the catalog this month. This one says Spanish language cinema, so these are probably all in Spanish. European cinema, getting started with Kanopy, so like recommendations where if you've not used it, maybe some films you might like to start with.
Now, these are just a variety of movies, right? Because Death on the Nile's got nothing to do with nothing. That's just an Agatha Christie movie.
That's correct. This particular row is made up of films that Kanopy recommends if you don't know where to start, maybe with
Oh,
one
I
of
see,
these.
to try out stuff, okay.
Yep, get started.
Well, that's
with Kanopy.
interesting.
Yep. Paramount Pictures films.
Now we're starting to get into some older films. What if you wanted to just get a thing that showed only the films from 1950s?
Well-
Could you do that? Could you ask for that?
What you can do is in this browse category, they do have, I believe, a classics section, classic cinema. And
Yeah, but see, when you get into classic lists, that's somebody else's definition of what a classic
Yep.
movie is.
that is correct.
Can you list movies by year?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We could try though. Let's see, maybe by decade, let's
I
see.
called up classic movies on one search engine, and it gave me a movie from 4 years ago. I thought, how could a 4-year-old movie be on the classic movie list? I mean, it won a bunch of awards and it was very popular, but when I say classic movies, I'm thinking of Gone with the Wind or something, you know.
I'm not seeing a specific way to do that, so what I did was I searched by decade.
So what'd you get?
Yeah.
I got these
Looks like you got
results.
some good black and white stuff.
Well, that might be deceiving, because this is Memories of Angels in Montreal, so it might not be a film made in the 1950s, it might be a show or a film about the 1950s. So, your results, like I said, when you use the search bar, it's casting a wide net. But, when you're in those classic film sections, if you click on each film, it'll tell you what year it came out. So then you can decide for yourself how classic of a film
Now,
you
some
want
of
to
these
watch.
are classic. Bicycle Thieves won an award in 1949 or
Right.
something. Dial In for Murder won a, that's
So this
Alfred
one came out
Hitchcock
in
movie, it won an
1954.
award, yeah.
Yep, 1954.
So that's the 50, so that's how it would come up. How many are on there? Just one, just 5? Or
How many are on what exactly?
we're on this list, yeah, is it just that row and then it's done?
Nope. If you scroll down, there will be several shelves, as they call them, these rows.
Well, I see those are all from the 50s, okay.
But then you can go to the right and get
Yes, you can keep
lots
going.
more. They're just,
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Starting to get some newer movies though, too.
These are not going to be arranged by time period of when they were released. They will be any film that's considered classic by Kanopy or whatever
Oh, I see,
studios they
okay.
make deals with.
Well, that's what's his name movie?
Charlie Chaplin,
Charlie
yes.
Chaplin movie, yeah.
Yep.
And Playtime, I think that the guy with the white hair directed that, I'm not sure.
Okay. And if you're not sure, you can always click on a title.
And it will tell you?
And yes, so
Yeah.
a rundown
Tape,
of
yeah.
what details are available in each
French
film.
guy,
Again, it'll tell you, you can click this button here to begin watching it on the screen or in your phone or tablet. It'll tell you how many tickets it costs to watch it, how long you'll have access to it, whether or not you want to add it to your My Watch list. And you can watch a trailer for it too. Trailers cost no tickets, it's a preview. Here it'll tell you what year it came out, how long it is, whether or not it's got closed captions, and what rating it has. There'll be a few other icons that appear here and there depending on what kind of content you're looking at. You'll get a description of the content, which is expandable if it goes on longer than a few lines. And then if you scroll further down, you'll get kind of the skinny on the details of the film and who made it. So you'll get director, actors that it features, what studio created it. So this is from the Criterion collection. You'll get what genres it has and what keywords are associated with it, such as French cinema or hidden gems, world literary tour, French language. And then you'll also see what languages it has available. So it's in French, it seems. So, all right. Any other questions?
Does Gary have to come down here to open up an account so that he can have his own Kanopy? Because right now Gary and I share.
If he would like to have his own Kanopy account, he would definitely need his own library card.
Right. Okay.
Yep. For library cards, we've got them set up right now to where you can have an individual one, a household one, or we're working on a temporary one as well for tourists, for example. But some folks like to have a household card because let's say they have 3 or 4 children, and they would like that one receipt with all the due dates to be on one piece of paper rather than one for you, one for you, one for you, and hopefully they all get kept track of. But for purposes, let's say, of cashing in on as many Kanopy tickets as you can, having individual accounts as well is awesome and very much encouraged. So I would not be upset with helping people get set up for their own library cards if that's what they'd like to do.
I think Brianna still has a library card. Probably use yours, right?
Oh, yeah. So I'll have these handy here at the library, but if anybody wants one today, I've got little cards that have the app icon. This is what this little black square is what it'll look like in your app store. The name of the service, the link to it if you're accessing it from a computer, and then a place to write down your library card number and a copy of what our library's pin-in is, if that's useful to you. So if anybody would like one. Thank you. Would you like one, Nancy? They would like it. Would you like one, Jay?
Sure. Thank you.
And you'll just have to get in touch with me at some point to get your library card number confirmed.
The library card number is on those receipts that I get every time.
That's exactly
where I
right.
can find mine, yeah.
Yep, so you can keep that card handy. But if you ever have questions about Kanopy while you're trying to use it, let's say at home, again, while the library's open, you're always welcome to call, and I can try to troubleshoot with you over the phone. Or if you want to explore it here at the library, we can pull this up anytime. So, but otherwise, thank you guys so much for coming.
That was really good.
Yeah, spread the word.
All new learning.
This is a really cool service.
Anytime it's new learning, I'm excited. Keeps the gray cells growing.
Yes, and I know streaming services are really getting overpopulated, I think. You know, every HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, Prime, and they all want their own pound of flesh, you know, to be able to use their services. But this one is free. This one is paid for by the library. We buy into this service on an annual basis. We pay for it monthly, and it's pretty reasonable even on our
That's
end.
good.
So be sure to take advantage of these almost 35,000 additional titles.
I had a client the other night, she said, can you find something else on the other side of the thing? The thing had 224 choices. I said, whoever thinks anybody can scroll through 200 choices? You know,
That's the
I mean,
way
I
it
thought a
is.
nice 100 is a nice number, or maybe
Yeah.
50,
Yeah.
but 220, by the time you scroll through, an hour would go by. And none of the things that were on an hour ago would be on anymore. But I thought that was a little bit much in terms of choices.
So do you receive statistics on how many people are using how many times the service has been used by Crawford Library patrons?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to show you perhaps a preview of that. Don't mind this, but here's what it looks like from my end. So I've had 6 new accounts made recently. I've got analytics. I can see how many titles we have, what packages additional that we could buy into. I can see popular, what things are popular, just much like the same kinds of information I get with Libby and our library management system. So yes, all of it counts.
So sometime down the road, somebody comes and says, well, you really don't need that service, nobody uses it, you can say,
I can
oh,
quantify otherwise. Exactly.
good.
Yes.
Well, that's really a nice service. It's got nice, and it seems to be pretty straightforward on the instruction.
Yeah. And again, if you ever need help,
Right,
just
you don't
let
have
me
to
know.
learn Mandarin Chinese to work it, you know?
Yeah, I've got 92 items on my wait list.
Wow.
I went onto my computer. 'cause
On
it was-
Kanopy?
On Kanopy, because it was easier to navigate on my computer than on my TV. And I just clicked on every other course.
Well, you're looking at courses then,
Oh, there's one.
and they're gonna play them on your TV, correct?
Yeah, there was astronomy courses, there was mental math courses, there was, my daughter's homeschooling, so